Local recordings.
There we go. What's up, everybody? This is Dominic D'Angelo of SEScoops.com. You may see me here right now on the Premier Streaming Network, but I am here for one of a kind with the star of the show, Mr. Monday Night, Mr. Thursday Night, every day of the week. At this point, it's RVD. Rob, how you doing, man?
I am excellent, dude. Excellent. Good. Just like always, man.
No doubt about it.
Happy Thursday and happy whatever day y'all are watching this. Happy today.
Happy today to you guys. So, Rob, wanted to start off kind of just seeing what your thoughts about with yes, that's what I was going to bring up. So I don't know if you heard.
Hold on, let's not right into it. Let's let me tell you one thing first off. Usually I got a couple of things laid out there. It's not really that bad. I had a couple of things laid out there. I wanted to show you the kitchen counter in use because I got a message from Taz, and he said he tries to catch our clips when he can, and he said he always thought that was a green screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he said he saw my dog back there or something and popped because he realized it was just my cool ass house.
Dude, your setup is fucking sweet. No doubt about it.
We're always working on it too. Always working on adding to this house and switching it around and stuff. It's cool having two creative people that don't mind changing a living room into a strip club.
How long have you lived at that place?
Like 5 years.
5 years, okay. Yeah. Wow, how about that, man? Well, sweet. Well, what I did want to start off with before we even get into any kind of wrestling, did you hear about the news about Ohio?
Ohio?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So this week with the election stuff going on, apparently it's legal now in Ohio for recreational marijuana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
This I didn't realize that. I'll look that up because if they're legal recreational, they probably already had some legal programs going. That's usually the way it works. Is you usually get the medical first, but anyway, I want to know because I want to know. You know, we might have 10 states left or something that are still like I don't know if it should be legal or not. No, it is. You guys are just dragging your feet.
Right. I think that brings it down to 11 because I think they were at 12 before Ohio.
Very interesting. I'm sure more will be following real soon too. Common sense and morality sometimes does win, at least temporarily.
Right. So I thought that was pretty intriguing. So
I thought you were gonna talk about the big mob bus in Gambino's like 10 members, but it was in New York and also in Sicily. So I thought you were going to try and bring that up, but I don't know enough about it. It's not worth talking about, but it's big news.
Ooh, okay.
Thought you were maybe heading that way, but
I'm going to have to check that out.
Congratulations, Ohio. Ohio!
Cleveland rocks.
Yeah.
Scary show. There we go.
Yeah.
Well, let's hit a little bit of feedback here for this week. So some of this is in reference to a couple episodes back, but here's something about Bobby Duncombe Jr. here. Scar says, Bobby Duncombe Jr. is legit one of the most underrated talents in wrestling history, cut from that Barry Windham cloth. Sad he died so young. Rob, I remember too, just watching it as a teenager or whatever I was at the time, and just how much he did stand out. Like he wasn't a huge character on WCW or a huge star at that juncture, but he was. Like you could definitely see he had more of a ceiling to go.
He had a lot of charisma, and he could work. And it's funny because his body was so beat up. Me and Sabu really became good friends with him. And we would always make fun of him and tell him that he was like held together with tape which he would tell us and show us, and I could tell in the ring, the way, I don't want to say wobbly, but when he would just run across the ropes, I mean, it looked sometimes like things were like falling apart as he's running or whatever. That was like part of the big man cowboy style that I got used to appreciate, because it wasn't so formulated and conformist, like people want to all hit the ropes the exact same way because that's how they get taught in school. And don't know if you ever noticed, but RVD doesn't hit it like everybody else. Same with everything. Bobby was definitely different. Whoa!
Uh-oh.
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 Kick the Yeti over for the second time.
Oh, no.
Good thing I already got a towel here.
There you go. You're prepped. You're already prepped.
Man, I don't know why I'm so clumsy outside of the ring.
I just spilled water on myself, so we're kindred spirits right now.
One time in Japan, Bobby had just come back to the dressing room after a match that he had, and Sabu and I were talking to him, and we're getting ready to go out. We're the next match up, so we're taping up our wrists, and he was he took all his tape off his wrists and his ankles and everything. We're making fun of him, because he's got so much tape, and he'd always say that was, what held him together. And then, but while we're talking to him, and we caught his attention, just bullshitting, blah 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 blah. He just fits into the conversation. He starts taping his hands, his fingers, and pretty soon he's like taping his wrists, and we're talking and think about, what do you want to do out there tonight, Sabu? Let's do that thing where you camel clutch and a drop kick him in the face, man. That's awesome, man. I like that, man. We should do that more, man. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then we get ready to go out there, and Bobby's all taped up again. Like, Bobby, what are you doing taped up? You already wrestled? He's like, oh man, what am I doing? He subconsciously just went right with us and got himself ready again to go back out there.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit I would do too. I know I would do that kind of stuff. Think about it.
That was funny.
All right, this is in reference to the spinner belt. After we were talking about that, they had that designed for 8 years, says Invisible.
Bobby's about to be a grandpa, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, his daughter Cassidy, who I keep in touch with, is about to have a baby, or did she have it? I think about to. Either way, it's there. Boom, big tummy, and so that's something he missed out on by dying young. And hopefully she'll be a much better parent than he was to her.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate. Oh, good to hear that she's having a baby, though.
Yeah.
Invisible Hot Dog said they had that designed for 8 years in reference to the spinner belt. 8 years. I can't believe they kept that. I get it because John Cena was such the top star and everything like that, but the spinner belt just did not fit the world title, I don't know, prestige it felt like. I don't know. What were your thoughts overall on that kind of thing?
I just always associated that with being John Cena's belt. Mm-hmm. I never thought about or knew about the duration of the title reign. So I get where it seems like looking at that as representing the whole company for 8 years seems like it had a really long run. But if he was the champion or just losing it to chase it and grab it right back the whole time and it was really his, then I can see why that could have happened.
Yeah. And then on top of it, if you're selling belts to kids too, I mean,
yeah,
cooler than spinning a WWE symbol around,
Yeah. So, people love that when I said this one spins, right? Like, yeah. People love that.
It was good shit, though. All right,
they make people happy by doing simple things. But that belt also is the heaviest belt that I've ever held.
Really?
Yes, sir. Out of all the belts, that thing, I don't know why, but it was just extra heavy. And also, it had little sharp points on it. And so it would sometimes rip little holes in my outfit. So I had to be careful of that.
Oh, man. Now, traveling around with that stuff, was that pain in the ass with that kind of belt? Because it was bulkier, you could tell.
Yeah, always. I mean, it's always, but I mean, that goes along with territory. You know what I mean? It's anytime you have a belt, the smaller it is, the easier it is to carry. But if it fits in a carry-on, which I only do carry-ons whenever possible, I almost never ever check a bag in. They do lose your bags when you check them in, or they come later. It's happened enough to me to where I would just like to have my bag with me, so I squeeze everything into a little bag. That's why something extra like a championship belt really takes away a lot of room. Like I might have to purposely not bring something else that I would normally bring. Like, all right, I don't need my laptop. It's only a 5-day trip or something like that. In fact, when I had the Money in the Bank briefcase, I would use that as my carry-on bag, and I would stuff my socks and underwear and stuff in the Money in the Bank briefcase. Yeah, put it overhead up in the compartment there, and then it would chip those sometimes, and I hated that. But I don't know what I did with my rolling bag then. If I didn't check, maybe I did check a bag back then. I don't know. That seems so long ago. Maybe I did. Maybe that was before I learned not to check a bag. But it doesn't seem like for most of my career that I checked the bag. So I don't know. But sometimes, like internationally, you have to because you're traveling in a group, and you never have to, but sometimes, especially if you're gone for a while, you need bigger bags. Whatever, you're smuggling some international people underground in your suitcases,
right?
Yeah, stuff like that. Fuck, what else was I gonna say? Something about my bag, something about the briefcase,
Belt.
stuffing. Yeah, so I guess, that was my point though, was just, like fold it all up so that it's got the belt with the belt curl, the gold, the plate with the actual belt curled underneath it. And if I can zip it up on top of my clothes onto a square, rolling bag, then that's where it's going to go. But I remember I would always have to pull it out because hey, that's not a Canadian. I'd pull it out because the X-ray gimmick, couldn't see through it, and so I'd pull it out and I'd set it either on top of the bag or in front of the bag in a basket, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and usually they mark out on it. For some reason, that's one of those jobs. A lot of TSA agents are fans. When I go through, they'll be like, RVD, bam, what's up, dog? And can I get a picture? That's one of those jobs where a high percentage of them know us.
And
it's not that to be helpful.
Now, how big of a pain in the ass was it when you had both belts? So you had the ECW type and you had the spinner belt on top of that. Was that a fucking ordeal to kind of go through?
It was. I don't know honestly how I traveled with it. I can't even remember how I had 2 belts. Like, what could I have done? I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be really fun.
And I've had that a few times in my career, but at least back in the day, like in 97, 98, like those days when I would have been the tag team champion and the TV champion, it wasn't flying every single day. It would be like flying in to start the week, flying out at the end of the week, and then we'd just be riding around, rolling in Sabu's Winnebago usually, in between or in cars. So that wouldn't be as hard because it's a pain in the ass to travel anyway. Like
right.
if you're a perfectly healthy adult, checks in perfect, homeostasis, everything, it's still a pain in the ass to go through the process of the lines and all the things you got to go through to get to your plane. So the more you know the system, obviously the better it is, the easier it is. But anything that works against you, then you can expect that's a little. You could say that, compare it to you got an extra duty at your job. You got to work and you got to clean extra, you got to work a little extra long, or you got to take care of another group of people you didn't have to take care of that now you're responsible for. Put it like that, like it's a job task. So it's all good.
Yeah.
Got promotion. Now you're in charge of carrying 2 belts. Quit bitching about it.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, here's what I wanted to say too. This just popped
Okay.
back in my head. The greatest secret in the business. I never, ever, ever heard this. Ever. Only did I experience it firsthand, and people don't talk about it really. So maybe it's not meant to be talked about. But fuck, look at me running my mouth like a fucking rat. But anyway, when I got the WWE Championship belt, all of a sudden, then I got bumped up to first class.
Really?
Yes, and if it was an airplane that didn't have first class available because the airplane was too small or whatever, they would literally buy 2 seats, and I'd have the seat next to me open, and they were both mine. And I never heard that. So I was like, whoa. And I talked to Ray about it, and he said, me too. Me too. He says, a lot of times people try and sit in that seat because they think, because I'm like so small, they think, oh, he doesn't need both seats. And I tell them, so excuse me, I actually paid for both of these seats. And, you got to tell them. And, they get mad at you and stuff, and which I've had that too, and they're like, must be nice. And I'm like, well, maybe someday you can be world champion.
Do you have a title? Because I do.
Right. But it's something that's amazing that, as soon as the belt was gone, so was that first class status.
Damn. So that's the added perk right there.
How about secret. That? Super secret.
Man, I want to be champion.
I mean, a lot of the guys probably have first class in their deal anyway, and and the more seniority you have, then usually you build up to that with the airlines. But that was like, didn't see it coming, didn't see it going. Maybe I did see it going.
Paying them dues. Quick follow up: did Joel airbrush?
Oh, Gertner?
No, Joel, your airbrush guy. Is it Joel, right, or is it Joe?
Oh, Joe.
Joe. Okay. Did he airbrush your briefcase?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. And that was his fucking ballsy move. Like, as soon as I won it, he told me to send it to him, or I gave it to him in person or whatever. And he'd already, what he did was he had one in rotation. So he said, all it is a Halliburton briefcase. And he just, boom, he gave it. So the one that first had the airbrushing on it wasn't necessarily the one that I won, but I didn't even understand that at first because I think I gave it up and then got that one. I don't think it was the other way around. I didn't have 2 at the same time. Boy, that would have been hard to travel with 2 fucking briefcases. But it was like that, and then he told me that, he had one in rotation because it would chip, like I said, from putting it overhead. It'd crack and flake, and then I would have to get it to him somehow. I don't know how the fuck I sent it to him. Now I'm wondering about that. But I did live I lived by him for part of that. So maybe that was, no, I was already in California. But I don't know. Somehow I got it to him, and he would touch it up or send the other one. Like I said, keep one in row. But at first I was like, whoa, like what if they get pissed or something? Like, I don't know if that's okay or not, and it's really cool that he knew that was a cool move to do, and fucking, helped me go down in history for, as I love doing, standing out, being different. And I remember thinking it would be cool merchandise to make little lunch boxes like the Money in the Bank briefcases and sell them and stuff. But for some reason, that idea went nowhere back then. But now, of course, now they do something very much like that. I sign them all the time. And now the briefcases are touched up because the one that I won, and I wasn't the original. As far as I understand, I was the original Mr. Money in the Bank. But Edge won the very first one. And I believe I was the second. That's my understanding. Money in the Bank briefcase winner. So Edge being the first one. I don't think he called himself Mr. Money in the Bank, from what I've been told. And he just had a black Halliburton boring ass briefcase.
Right? You livened it up.
Joe Holland. Yep.
Heck yeah, man.
Man,
That's
my
great.
man.
What was WWE's initial reaction when you brought it in like that too? Were they like, "Oh, that's fucking sweet," or was it like, do
I
you
think
remember?
so.
Yeah.
I really don't remember, but I think it was. I think they liked it. I don't know. I wish I did know. They were probably like, "What did you do?" Like, oh
What
my,
the fuck?
the fans are gonna hate that. I can imagine them not understanding it, but I
Yeah,
really
not
don't.
getting it.
Yeah.
This is in reference to Kenny Omega here. If AEW would build this matchup, I believe it could draw money. User D several letters says, I have to agree with that. You and Kenny Omega would definitely tear the house down for sure. So
That'd be cool, man. I'd wrestle Kenny Omega 3 fatty acids.
and there you go.
And, and yeah, it would take a while of getting the fans used to seeing me kicking ass weekly or whatever, because right now too many of them would still, I think, not give the credibility just because, we were taught when we were young that 50-year-old is an old man. And so now people can't get over that that's not necessarily true with our generation. And I think because of that, that a lot of people would be like, well, maybe RVD in his prime. But like you said, build it up. In other words, if you get a chance, give me a chance to show off every week for several weeks and fucking, remove all doubts. Fuck yeah, man. That's a match that's talked about a lot. Always has been. Always has been.
And it would, I mean, you build it around them, like, yeah, like you were saying, like show up for weeks and then perform each week, and then boom, you can definitely tell a good story in regards to all that stuff too.
Hey, man, if he can wrestle a 7-year-old, why not a 52-year-old?
Why the hell not, man? Yep. Why the hell not? Speaking of 50-year-olds, Chris Jericho's birthday's today. He turned 53. So
nice.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Chris Jericho.
How's about that?
Hopefully I'll remember to send him a message.
There you go.
Yeah, man, we're pretty much same age. I will be there in a few weeks. In December 18th, that I will be 53 as well. So,
Ooh.
you know what's funny to me is the expression when people say like, well, we're all getting older.
Really?
That's one of those ones that I usually just don't respond to because I don't think it warrants a response, And like my friend said that in Battle Creek, we're all getting a little older, and like I didn't respond or whatever. So then he started like looking me up and down, looking for something he could follow up with, and he's like, seeing some of those white hairs there.
Oh my God.
It's like, dude, you know what? Like, we're already older than when you started that sentence, and thank God. Yes, we're moving forward in time, and thank God. That's a good thing.
Right.
It's a very good thing because the alternate, not so good. A lot of my friends aren't getting older, and they'll always be remembered as being a much younger age, just because that's the way it goes. Only the good die young, right?
Right.
But anyway, I think that's one of those expressions that's funny because it's like it's one of those subliminal energy manipulating comments where its intention is to hook you in and to elicit a response out of you. So when someone says that, they're trying to and planning on getting something out of you. Well, hey, we're not getting any younger, and they'll and they're expecting you to be like, ain't that the truth?
You got that. All right.
or whatever comes out of you, but it's just like, hey, the sky is blue. Yeah. Who are we? Fucking Benjamin fucking
Button there.
Yeah.
All right. Final piece of feedback. First Instinct says First Instinct 420 podcast favorite along with Cafe Day, Renee, Maven, and Stevie Richards. And then Matt Whedon says Dom is a dork. So thanks.
Yeah, I went ahead and like that comment.
Yeah, go ahead. All right. So what I did want to talk.
The dope and the dork. That's what we can call our new show.
There we go. Open the door. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I'll bring the dope.
I'll bring the dope. Dope in the dork. Yeah. What a guy. Not as good as Smoke and Choke, though.
That was pretty good, right?
That was pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah. Speaking of, you see Hook is tagging with Orange Cassidy next week.
Uh-oh, I lost my fucking spot as his partner already.
What the heck? Hopefully, you know, they gotta get on the horn with you, Rob, and just get you in there. Like
they better.
I like
better not share any of the industry secrets that I whispered into the young man's ear during our match.
That's right.
With Orange Cassidy.
That's right. You guys have that bond. You already have the bond, so I don't think he might have to. You guys might have to hook up again. I think
Orange Cassidy is a version of me, you know, because he's so laid back and relaxed and doesn't give a fuck. And, you know, I see that when I first realized, you know, what was important to this guy, you know, his value system. Just looking at Orange Cassidy, I was like, yeah, they took like one side, one perspective of me and fucking really exploited it into a whole character. And that's I like it.
I do too. And you know what? He gets a lot of flack by a lot of like some wrestling purists, if you will. But you know, there's a lot of thing that he does where it's like he picks and chooses moments where, you know, there's credibility into it. But then on top of it, he stays true to who he is, his persona is. It's like he doesn't shake from that. And that's pretty like an old school kind of thought process in certain ways. So it's just kind of very modern. I don't know. Like I dig the persona, I think, you know?
It's different, and I recognize that vibe in myself for sure. Of, you know, like, dude, who gives a fuck? Let's just do it.
Right. Right. All right. What I wanted to get your thoughts on too. Did you see the whole thing about
the whole effing show?
The whole effing show. Did you see the NWA in their cocaine spot? Did you happen to see that?
In their cocaine spot? Oh, yeah. No, but I think I know. Yeah, I did. I remember now what it was that I heard reference made to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So James Mitchell, the Sinister Minister, if you will.
Yeah. He
was at the pay-per-view that the NWA did. They had a segment where he was at a table with some women and a dude, I think, and they were doing cocaine. And apparently, from what you hear, that really kind of threw a wedge in the works between their new TV deal that they got with the CW. And now WE is NXT is going to be on the CW. I don't know what the status is with the NWA, but just definitely ECW, they were known for edgy stuff, but they never did like super drug reference kind of stuff, did they? Or was there any moments of that? I mean, aside from, you know, like 420, but that's different than cocaine. So has there
I don't remember any, you know, specifically. I don't recall. But I could see where maybe it could have been relevant, you know. I mean, depending on what you think about censorship and where you draw the lines on, you know, free speech and creativity, because I'm thinking of this movie like I was a kid when I saw this movie, and I didn't understand it at the time, but it was a Chevy Chase movie called Modern Problems.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I was really young, but I just remember like right now, and at the time I wasn't exactly sure what happened, but there was a big line of something, and it went like down the hallway, like around the house or whatever. And he's like, he's snorting it, and he's on his hands and knees, and he's like levitating, like going all along the path, you know, all the way through the end. And then he reaches and he comes up and he says something like, "This is great," or something like that. And he's all like buzzed out. I could see where in the world of adult entertainment, where maybe if you had a character in ECW, where maybe he would turn around with that look on his face and be geeked up or something, you know. But I don't think anybody did. But I'm just saying, I don't know that I would have a problem with that. It sounds like, you know, showing actual drug usage, or I don't know if implied drug usage could be too much or not. But there is morality clauses in the contracts when it comes to your relationship and your distribution agreement on the television channel. So that's going to be covered in the contract. And if it says on there that, you know, no illicit references to drug use, or however it's worded, it'll be pretty specific. So I think it's going to be cut and dry, like how far they want to push it. If they, but by the way, this also reminds me of in TNA Impact when we got them thrown off of Twitch for our threesome.
Yeah.
Me and Katie and Jennifer. And what's funny is that, like, I'll go down in history as getting the heat for that, regardless of who wrote it, who filmed it, who edited it, who aired it, whose idea it was. It's all gonna go down in history on me, and that's fine.
Right. Whatever.
That's one of those things that pleases me, because it reminds me that there is still kayfabe. It's just different, and it's where the fans don't know the difference. And right. I'm glad because holding on to that, you know, makes me feel less like I'm away from my safety zone.
Well, did you cross paths with Billy Corgan at all while he was in TNA? Okay. What was your relationship with him, and what are your thoughts on his like wrestling philosophy overall?
I guess I don't really know his philosophy enough to comment on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just get along with him. I don't remember when I first met him, but I actually know him through Chris Nowinski, because Chris Nowinski is a good friend of his and mine. The three of us did some kind of speech for concussion protocol for college football somewhere at one time, you know. And I remember, you know, Chris was going to be the closer. And I remember Billy saying, offering me to go first, and he was like, "Do you want to talk first?" And I remember just trying to be a gentleman, you know. I'll be like, "Oh, no, go ahead." And then, like, while he was talking, then I remember thinking, he knew he was going to be here. Like, he's got a prepared speech. Like, they invited me like on the last second, and I just realized these guys prepared speeches. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to say. Maybe I should have went first. Fuck, too late now. But it was fine though. It was fine. It was all right. But, you know, could have done better.
All right, shoot from the hips sometimes is the best. You get the best kind of speeches.
It's usually what you get from me. Unfortunately, even when I'm dealing with the movie script, I usually you know, I'll learn it right before he says action.
There you go. There you go.
I'll learn it in the makeup truck. I'll look at it then. That's me.
I'll get it there. Well, I'm getting the makeup done. I'll get in touch with it. Let's see.
Stupid.
Oh yeah. Before speaking of Hook, I wanted to run this by you too. I don't know. Did you see Sabu's comments on Hook in your appearance on the AEW?
I saw, I think, a headline that said Sabu talks about Hook being his last opponent or something like that. And I didn't know exactly what he said, but you know.
All right. So apparently he spoke with the Title Match Network or something like that. And he was talking about your appearance on there. He's like, I thought it was awesome. Would have been better if he came out with me, saying you and him came out. He came out and then he had a surprise and ended up being with all of us. I wanted him, meaning you, to win the FTW belt, give it to me, and then in my final match, I lose it back to Hook. I didn't say it to nobody. That's just my thought. I like Hook. He's a good guy, a good kid, very respectful. Needs to gain some weight, of course, and experience, but I think he has a good future. It would be my pleasure to help him. So yeah, he did want to say he would. He did mention he wanted to be retired by Hook. So it'd be a pretty cool concept.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I don't expect to see Sabu wrestle again, but stranger things have happened.
Right. Never know. All right, Rob. So we are going to kind of switch it up a little bit this week. We usually do the spotlight or we do a Rob Van Dam match. This week, we're going to kind of cover a certain time period, and it's the month of November of 1998, where there was November to Remember 1998, but there was a lot of stuff going around it in the wrestling world at that time, too. So pretty intrigued to get some of your perspectives, not just on the ECW pay-per-view, but some of the shit that was going around during that time, too, with wrestling. So
93, you say?
1998. Yeah. So the match that you were participating in at the time was the Triple Threat versus the new Triple Threat. So you, Taz, and Sabu versus Shane Douglas, Bam Bam Bigelow, and was it? Yes, Chris Candido, correct? No, yes, Chris Candido.
Okay.
So, but I did kind of want to start off with what was kind of circulating around that time too, even beforehand. And this was in WCW. I wanted to see if you kind of remember any of this aspect of it all. So Halloween Havoc 1998 took place on October 25th and featured the rematch of the historic WrestleMania 6 battle in the Toronto Dome between the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan. This match was pretty much a mess, as there was a missed flash paper spot where Hogan got the tainted win with the help of his nephew Horace, but the flash paper, he almost tried to do a fireball when it get like akin to the Sheik, but it did not go well.
Right.
So when you were a fan, you were a pretty big Warrior fan, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Did the original WrestleMania match between him and Hogan stand out to you as a fan back when you were watching? Was that like one of your big matches as a kid, or not? You weren't necessarily a kid back then,
right? That's the thing. Like around that time when I first got into the business, sometimes in my mind I'm trying to remember, like, was I already in the business, or was I a kid still watching it? At home with my parents, and I do remember when Hogan and Ultimate Warrior wrestled each other. Was it SummerSlam 4? No,
WrestleMania 6.
4. Oh, so, yeah. What year would that be?
I want to say 1990, I think.
Okay, so then I would be like schooling, maybe or maybe not. I had my first couple of matches around the Detroit area at that time. But I remember that because I remember me and Dango going over to Brian Livingood's aunt's house to watch this pay-per-view, and I was really excited about it. That's the way I remember it. And we were playing on the trampoline, jumping on it, doing wrestling moves. And I actually have a video recording of that really? That afternoon, us waiting for the show to start, playing on the trampoline. And as I remember being that match. So, but for some reason, I also remember it being a Survivor Series, but I think it was, I just thought that, I had that mixed up in my head. But so there was that, and it was really important to me because I thought Warrior was awesome, and I thought he was really getting his roses, his flowers, his just due if he was going up against the immortal Hulk Hogan and going head to head. Like, holy crap. And having the muscle intensity to back up being in that spot, to still be such a show that we're going, oh my God, look at that freak, when they're both just, just all that muscle and flesh and just boom, Can I use the word homoerotic and piss some fans off here?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Warrior, like I probably discovered him not long before that. So, it's probably 17, 18. I don't know how long he'd been in the WWE, at that point.
Probably
But
like a couple of years, I think. Maybe
yeah, so I saw him when he first came in. That's when I was a super fan. I was going to be a wrestler. I was doing the kickboxing. I just put that poster up on Instagram. Did you see that? And
yeah,
on
I
Twitter
did with you and Dango.
from 1988. It's great because
Yeah.
I'm like this, and his arms look bigger than mine. So I took a pen and drew, tried to like draw above the cutout, and then ended up drawing over everything to try to make it blend in or whatever. And it's hilarious. But 1988 Summer Jam. That was a good gem to find when I was visiting my parents in Florida a couple days ago.
That's pretty sweet.
But anyway, yeah, during the time, Warrior, when I was hitting every show, within 90 miles at that time, super fan. And this new guy, Dingo Warrior, came in. I don't know if you knew that, but he was the Dingo Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Blade Runner with Sting.
You know what music he came out to?
No, what did he come out to?
Yeah, you wouldn't believe this because it was so. Robert actually made fun of me. He was one of the four of us that were wrestlers. Me, Dango, Robert, and Eddie. Eddie Hawksworth was at the Kellogg Center a few weeks ago, so it was really cool to see him. And Robert Jackson's in Miami, but we would have tag matches every Monday at the Robert Dome. And I went when I was, really excited about the Dingo Warrior, like, oh my God, he's the best. I love him. Robert would make fun of me because of his song. He came out to Pat Benatar.
The Warrior?
Yes.
I am the
Warrior. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Isn't that funny? That's what they brought. That's what they had for him to come out to. I saw him at house shows in Lansing and Indiana and wherever around the area. Yeah, beating down the walls of fire. Bang, bang.
Bang, bang.
I am the warrior. I don't know. It was funny. But anyway, that dude, he was so intense. And I was just captivated by him. I thought he was Achilles reincarnated because I was really into Greek mythology at the time, and he was everything that I was reading about. So it helped me picturing Ultimate Warrior out on the battlefield, slaying all the Trojans, making way for the Greeks coming in off of the beach, heading towards the walls of Troy. And it was just like, dude, yeah, I just totally pictured him. Yeah. And it was, I thought they were like interchangeable. And I think he said that too in an interview or something. I was like, of course.
Yeah. Was he your number one guy then? Like
he was at that time. Yeah. My number one guy changed around here and there. For a lot of time it was Leaping Lanny Poffo. Mm-hmm. I liked Lanny a lot because he thought outside of the box, did moves that were exciting to me, even though it was just like flying head scissors. That wasn't done back then. A monkey flip. Oh my God. That was extreme for back then in that style. So he was my favorite, but I don't remember like ever being like really passionate about him like with the Ultimate Warrior, you know what I mean? Where, he just had so much intensity and that was his vibe. And so he inflicted that upon other people. And then we all caught into that, we want to beat our chest, yeah.
Spirit.
Who else was my favorite for a while? I don't know. Hogan was probably for a minute. Hercules was when he was wrestling against Hogan.
Yeah.
I liked Hercules Hernandez then. But Warrior for a while, and I really, really got into him where I would cut out all the pictures out of magazines and newspapers and put them on the wall. And then when I would wrestle at those pre-Chic matches that I put the poster up on, I would maybe not on that one, but on some of those though, I would use Sharpie and color my face and put shoelaces on my arms. I was the Battle Creek Barbarian.
Nice.
And I do have pictures. I do have pictures, but no video.
Ooh, all right. We might have to get those.
Yeah, we should have a bulletin board or something for the show to like every week when we talk about shit, we could throw stuff up there.
Yeah, I would like it. I think that would be really cool.
How do we monetize it?
Yeah, how do we make money off it though? Do you remember the rematch? So this Halloween Havoc match at all? Do you remember him being in WCW or anything like that? Was that on your radar at all at this juncture or not really?
Not Didn't they like promise they were going to bring Warrior, and then they brought the Renegade instead? Was that this or
That
no?
was beforehand. So like they didn't get the Warrior, so they had I can't remember the guy's name that played the Renegade.
He
Yeah,
killed himself.
that's right. Yeah, okay.
Because the way the story goes, he killed himself because, well, I mean, you know, who really knows? But the way the story goes down is that they fucked with him that much, you know,
Really?
and told him he was going to be the next Ultimate Warrior. They were going to give him this monster push. And then fucking when they brought him on, the way I understand it, Renegade, but they had him painted everything just like the Warrior, but he wasn't the Warrior. You know, much smaller, less intense dude. I mean, that's like a singer trying to sing a Whitney Houston song. You can't just step into that. And anyway, he didn't get over, from what I understand, and then you know they kind of kicked him to the side and treated him like shit, and did some of the things that people in power can do when they lack empathy. And boom, he put a gun to his head and blew his head off.
Wow. Jeez, yeah, I forgot. I knew he passed away. I forgot it was that though. Man.
I think of that when I think of Warrior being in WCW.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I even think about with connecting that. And besides that, I just think of him as being in WWE. But I know he came in after that, right?
He did come in after that, yeah. And then they did a big angle. He was there for a few shows, but he didn't last long.
I think he was upset that they were bringing in a fake Warrior too. You know, like I don't know if it was negotiations and he wanted more money than they wanted to pay him, which probably, whether they talked or not, might have been the situation. Could have been perceived as the situation. But it seems like I remember even him or his perspective somewhere out there being portrayed as, dude, what the fuck? You bringing in this fake Warrior, like, and yeah, I don't know, you know, to what degree that was fact, but makes sense, of course. You know, anybody would. How could you not?
He was very protective of his persona, obviously, too, changing his name and all that stuff, too. Like, super protective. Also, at this pay-per-view of Halloween Havoc, the pay-per-view feed didn't actually feature the main event that they had with Goldberg versus DDP, as their allotted time expired. And so they actually had to air the match the next night on Nitro. But the silver lining to that, even though it was a huge mess and they had to give a whole bunch of refunds back, silver lining to that was WCW's biggest rating in over 10 years. They got a 7.8 at the time, which is crazy to think nowadays landscape. But I wanted to kind of get your perspective. How closely, if at all, did Heyman and the ECW locker room kind of keep tabs on the Monday Night Wars? Like, ratings have become more focused aspect of the business, it seems, nowadays. But like, I know it was still kind of on the radar when it comes to that stuff. Was that something that Heyman really kept tabs on, do you think, or anything like that, you know?
I couldn't tell you if he did or not, you know. He probably did. It seems that I remember, it seems familiar to me that when we were on TNN that we were just trying to get like a 1. Like we were like 0.9 and trying to get over that hump to get a 1, which means what, 1 million fans? Or is that
about roundabout approximately or so? Yeah.
Not 100,000, but 1 million, right?
But it would, yeah, more 1 million, yeah.
But I mostly did my thing, so you know I can't really tell you that much about how other people cared about it. But we were watching and comparing it, and you know that was part of our weekly meeting. Was like, hey, nothing on the national network was drawing above a 0.3 before. Now we come on, we're 0.9, the highest rated show all week, and they're not doing shit for us, not anything. They're not advertising our show. They're fucking us. Well, you know what the hell? And that was the way I remember it. That was always the situation that we were in back then, because they just showed Fishing and Dukes of Hazzard. You know, it was a national network, and then I went to no, it was Tennessee. I don't know. It was the national network.
CMT. It was CM. Well,
no, the TNN. I'm saying stood for a couple things.
Yeah, it did change around. You're right about that.
But anyway, yeah. But I talk about the full circle relationship I had with the Warrior?
No, I don't think you have.
Because it's worth mentioning. So we talked about what a fan I was of his.
Right.
I mean, paid to see him, and fucking, idolized the guy. When I was already in the business, wrestling for this group out here in Las Vegas, the NWC. This is 95, I think. One day we were wrestling at the Aladdin here in Las Vegas, which is no longer there. It's been imploded. I believe where Planet Hollywood is now, but big part of history of the Aladdin. And, I'm stoked that I got to be there before it was taken down. But we did a show there and Warrior was on it. And so that I was like really excited about that. We actually did a laser tag with kids, with fans as part of a promotional thing. And so that was like really memorable. Like I said, that was like 95. And then I didn't see him or talk to him. Even there, I don't remember if I ever talked to him at that show in Las Vegas. I mean, I was a young green kid and he was Ultimate Warrior, probably dressing by himself. He won show. I don't know. But see, I don't know what year this would be. 2010-ish, let's just say. Sounds right. But we had a mutual friend, Warrior and I, in Andrew Wright, who's a documentary producer. He did the Hardy Boys TV thing or whatever, started me on RVD TV. Good dude. And he was doing a documentary on Warrior. And he said that he told Warrior, that I was a big fan of his and respected him a lot. And Warrior respected me and wanted to know if he came, would I be able to get into a ring with him, because he hasn't wrestled in 10 years and he's got this match coming up with Orlando Jordan and he wants to just get in the ring, bounce around a little bit or whatever. Would I get in the ring with him, and I was like, fuck yeah, that would be awesome. I had some conditions, which he met. He came to LA and we went to Jesse Hernandez's wrestling school. And anyway, there wasn't a lot of training that went on there, and they did have the match, I think, in Spain or whatever. And then it was later in WWE, I connected with him again right before he died. Like he was there at the WrestleMania. I guess that was a couple of days before he died, I guess.
Yeah. Because he died, I think, on Tuesday after Raw. It was.
So I was I remember talking to him in the press box and stuff. And by that time, he was like, we were like friendly, like he knew who I was for sure, whatever. Well, after he died, I was talking to his wife one time, and his wife said to me that that Warrior was always a big fan of mine, and I was like, "What?" She said, I don't know if you remember this or not. She said, but one time you guys were on a show together in Las Vegas a long time ago. I was like, yeah, at the Aladdin. Of course, I remember. I wouldn't expect him to remember that I was on that card. I didn't do anything memorable with him or whatever. She said, no, you stuck out to him, and he noticed you right away and pointed you out. And she said over the years that he always would point you out to me on TV and say, watch this guy, he knows what he's doing. And she said that he always like followed my career and stuff. And I was just blown away. I was like, I would have no fucking earthly idea if she hadn't told me that. And that was just so cool to know. And then it made sense that why he wanted me to get in the ring with him, that I wasn't just on a list of guys that passed the credibility test, but that, we had like a mutual respect. So that's something I just wanted to share, that fucking full circle of life with the Ultimate Warrior.
Feel the power. That's wild though. And so at that time in Vegas, how much of like the RVD look did you have at that juncture? Like that people.
I was RVD, new into it, like about a year or two into the. I might have even wrestled barefoot. I don't know.
Oh, really?
I hope not, Either I might have just started putting boots on, or I was barefoot. But I had the singlet that I wear now.
Mm-hmm.
But the airbrushing was only like, I only had one design. It was a silhouette of me doing a flying sidekick, bam, with a lightning bolt behind it.
Oh,
I had that. Those are my first couple. I had it in red, and then I had it in blue. And I was a tag team there with Bobby Bradley. We were called Aerial Assault. I ended up getting him an outfit to match mine. And so those were our first two outfits. That's what I wore back there in the Las Vegas NWC days.
nice. That is sweet, full circle.
Sometimes the commentator would call us, because Bobby Bradley, right? So he would call us Robbie V and Bobby B.
Robbie V and Bobby B.
Yeah, Robbie and Bobby, look at them. I was like, I always thought it was kind of cheesy, and I had mixed feelings because I really liked Bobby and he did great moves. We did all kinds of sweet tag team moves that I would still use later on in my career. The 420 leg drop, that's one of them.
Wow.
All kinds of stuff like that came from way back then with Bobby B. But what was I was going to say? This I don't know. I just like I could only get him like so far. You know what I mean? I got him in Japan one time, got him a tour of Japan, and he did good, but he just didn't quite cut the cheese, like in the like his body didn't look like a ticket seller,
Mm-hmm.
and he could have put some more into that, but really good wrestler, and yeah, it was. For me, I was like, as long as you keep paying me for being Rob Van Dam, I'll be a tag team.
Yeah, right. I'll be tag team.
Yeah.
You should bring a variant of that singlet back.
Yeah, well, I think it's been redone, or at least the silhouette, or other silhouettes like it in different forms. But that would be cool to have an outfit that's almost like a plethora, like a plaid or some kind of pattern with a bunch of all just different old designs.
Callbacks to, yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, tribute outfit. That'd be sweet.
Heck yeah. All right, let's get to some ECW stuff. So actually, the same weekend that Halloween Havoc took place, on October 24th, you and Sabu lost the ECW tag team titles to the Dudley Boys in Cleveland, Ohio. And then Meltzer reported at that time, too, that Sabu suffered a smashed up mouth in the tag title change match when Van Dam threw a chair at him and he didn't catch it. He chipped 2 teeth and loosened a few others and was bleeding real bad from the mouth. Do you remember chipping Sabu's teeth at all?
Not that time.
Not that time. Have you ever had chipped teeth?
Yes.
I've never had chipped teeth. Is that pretty painful?
No, I mean it can be, but not in its own. It can be, or it cannot be. It really depends on the significance of it. I have like one of my bottom teeth is chipped and has been since I was like 18 when I was in a stupid big fight with a bunch of people and got kicked, football kick, and I still, like, if I see a new dentist, they tell me, that your tooth is missing a corner, right? It's been that way for it's been that way for 40 years, 35 years. So that when it's first chipped like that, it can be raw, and there could be like an exposed nerve that hurts so bad. Just the air coming in when you breathe is like wants to drop you to your knees. But a couple weeks ago, I was in my gym, and I was doing pulley curls on my back on the bench, and I had the cable up on the high pulley, so I'm pulling it down, right? After the last rep, I stretched out my arm, and my arms weren't quite long enough, to reach. So I let it go, and when I let it go, it had a little further than I thought, so the weight slammed, and somehow the bar came unhooked, and it came down, and it hit me right in my fucking chin, bam, and I started bleeding right away. And it was my first set of my fucking workout, and I was
Damn
like,
it.
oh, man. Like I already walked into it a minute ago, and it hit me in the eye before I laid down, and then this happened. And like right away, I thought I was gonna have to glue it. I was looking all over for glue because it was so open. But as soon as it hit, I started chewing that like tooth dust. Like you could like right away, I knew it chipped a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it was so minor that like I never noticed it again once I swallowed the tooth fairy dust. It's like a powdery like I don't know if you've never had it. It's just like when your tooth like breaks up into little tiny powdery pieces and you eat it, but it can be bad. Like when it leaves a nerve raw, or it can be part of worse damage too. You know what I mean? Just
Right.
your tooth can be chipped, but it's because your whole tooth got knocked out of place, and that's gonna hurt like a motherfucker. And Sabu's done that during plenty of matches. I remember one time, and this one does sound familiar, but I've done it a lot of times though. He trained me to hurt him, and then just to back off and hurt him a little less each time. That's how he trained me. That's how he trained me to find the right spot.
The right balance.
Yeah. One time, me and Fonzie were bringing a table in, and it was some tag match. He was doing something, I think, with the Eliminators. And me and Fonzie, this was the last time that I ever pulled a table in upside down with the legs up. I learned how dangerous that is. Whenever I see it, I dive on it like it's a hand grenade if someone else is pulling it in with the legs up, because it's so dangerous. So me and Fonzie are pulling it in across the canvas while the legs are up, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Sabu just comes flying out of there. He did a moonsault from where? I don't know. I don't know where the fuck he was going. But when he landed, I saw the leg of the table that was going up. I saw Sabu land on it, on his face. And I saw the leg go straight into his face. Bam. And then like he rolled off when he hit. He just kept rolling, and blood instantly is like spraying while he's rolling. And I thought he just died. I don't know if it went through his eye or what. It freaked me out. I was like, oh my God, what just happened? Like that was the worst thing that could have happened, was for all that to line up like that. Right. And after that, me and Fonzie both, whenever we see that, we fucking fold that leg down right away. Because that was so dangerous. But what happened, thank God it didn't go in his eye, but the leg went in his mouth, and it knocked out some of his back teeth and cracked his jaw.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Man. Well, geez, yeah. I like, to the layman, I would have never even thought about that being as dangerous. But yeah, that's fucking dangerous.
It took that one time, and then I realized afterwards, like, whoa, fucking turn that table over, motherfuckers. Yeah, it scares me. Like, it was traumatic.
Holy shit. Yeah, I would say so.
I really did think he could have just died. That's how.
Yeah, I would have blamed you either, because the blood spraying all over the place, like fucking like Julia Child's getting SNL. Then yeah, you don't want that happening. Okay, so the next night on October 25th, you were in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and you retained your TV title against Jerry Lynn. Rob, that's my neck of the woods, is Altoona. Do you have any memories of Altoona, PA?
Is that the Java Mosque?
I don't think so. Maybe. So
I don't know, dude.
It's Pennsylvania, basically.
Yeah, I remember that was one of the towns that became one of our regulars. You know what I mean? But I'm not sure I can distinguish it in my head. Especially, I'm looking at the interior. Some matches I had was at the Lulu Temple, was at the Java Mosque. Was Altoona a different building than either one of those? There was also the Body Slam Arena or whatever in Reading that was not too far from there, that was in our rotation. So, Jim Thorpe, which I do remember that one. That one sticks out. But all those little shitty towns were in rotation. And I remember wrestling. What was dude's name? Like, I forgot about this. Mac, something Mac. Big dude. I forgot about him. He would have black pants on that had like white skulls on it.
Oh,
He was really, really big guy. Who I had this finish for a really short while that Sabu gave me. That was like basically a brain buster, but off the corner. I think standing on the second rope, and I picked the guy up and like bring him down. But the trouble is, I was breaking necks. Hack Myers, that's the guy I was trying to think of.
okay.
You remember that guy, Hack Myers?
That
Yeah.
name sounds familiar. Yeah.
I think I wrestled him at Altoona. That pops up into my head, and I think I heard him with that move too.
Oh, damn. Hack Myers. Okay, I'm gonna have to Google him because that sounds familiar. So Meltzer reported too that Lynn was all banged up after the weekend, but it likely won't keep him off the pay-per-view that he was saying, because he eventually did fight Lance Storm at the pay-per-view. But he was talking openly, wondering about his future in wrestling.
You can't hold Terry Lynn back.
You
Don't
can't.
even try.
Yeah, that's right. He's just gonna go. So Meltzer says that he was talking openly, wondering about his future in wrestling. Do you remember Lynn actually questioning like his future, like what he was gonna do at that juncture? Like, was that typical of him, or did he ever do that kind of stuff?
Not that I can recall.
Yeah.
Sounds like an angle. Sounds like an angle. I don't know.
Yeah.
When Jerry did tell me he was done, he was done. You know, and that was when he was 50. He turned 50, and I wrestled him in Impact Wrestling for that. It was a hardcore match, but I can't remember what they called it, like a heavy metal death match or some shit.
They did. Yeah, I think that's what
Mayhem, something.
Full Metal Mayhem? Was that it? Full Metal Mayhem?
Maybe, perhaps, something crazy like that. And anyway, I remember he was telling me that was on his list of obligations that he was knocking out, and he was going to fulfill the list and then be done. And I was like, no, dude, come on, man. Let's, man, we got a bunch of matches we can still have. You know, you're one of my favorite guys to work with. And as far as I know, he's stuck to it since then. And I just heard that, that Tony wanted him to. Will you tell me that? That was a long time ago, but that Tony wanted him to. No, someone was talking about him, them wanting him to work something with Perry, with the
Perry, Jungle
yeah.
Boy? Mm-hmm.
Someone was telling me, I know who it was now, but it was a conversation earlier, and they were just telling me Tony had this idea, and then they were going into it or whatever, moving forward for a while before Jerry was actually asked, you know, can you wrestle? And he was like, oh, I can't wrestle. I could be crippled if I go in there. If I get in the ring, shoot. Oh, dang it. I can't do that. No, but anyway, I don't even know. Don't even know if it's true, but it was a conversation earlier and it's relevant. So, boom, eat it.
I like, too, that Jerry is so, like, considerate with his words and stuff like that, but he's really into death metal, too. I just like that. I think that's great.
Yeah.
All right, so Meltzer also wrote that Heyman had considered bringing in Yokozuna to do a job for Spike Dudley, but the Louisiana Commission, because that was taking place in New Orleans, was November to Remember. The Louisiana Commission told him he couldn't because of all the commission's respect to each other's suspensions, and New York pulled his license due to the failing physical due to Yokozuna's obesity at the time. Did you ever have any interactions with Yokozuna?
I have had two. One of them was I saw his cemetery plot because I lived right by there. He's buried in Rancho Palos Verdes in LA, and I lived right up the hill from there, where Louis Spicoli also was buried, you know. So, but there was one show, and it was in I'm pretty sure it was in New Jersey. But the only reason that I question it is because there was a mark there from Allentown that had sued me, ECW me, and it was this ridiculous case, a fan, where ECW gave him the nuisance fee to go away and just paid him the minimal. But I had to go to a deposition and stuff. That was my first time actually doing that. And I remember him being at this show that I was at, and it was a big show for an indie show.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like it was before they did the WrestleCons and stuff, you know,
Right. Yeah.
long time ago. Man, now I wonder who I wrestled. I feel like I might have wrestled Tommy Dreamer, but regardless, there was a lot of stars there in the dressing room, and they were, quite the eclectic group, pretty expansive from different companies and seeing people you don't normally see. And Yokozuna was there, and he was sitting on a love seat. You know, like a couch normally has like three cushions for three people, and a love seat would have like two cushions. It's like a little shorter couch.
Yeah.
Yokozuna was sitting in that love seat tight. His ass went from armrest to armrest and was stuffed in tight. And so that stuck out. That impressed me. You know, like I'll always remember looking at him and being like, holy fuck, that is a big ass.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy too. I mean, even before the obesity really caught up with him, he was like such an athletic dude for his size. It was crazy the kind of shit that he could pull off.
Yeah, I think that's the only time that I ever was in the same place with him.
Yeah. Well, so according to Meltzer 2, this was actually the biggest money weekend ECW had at the time in company history. In Buffalo, you drew 3,500 fans at $71,000. You were in Pittsburgh, and that drew $62,000. Cleveland drew 42,000. Altoona even drew 24,000. And for the week, you guys drew a whole bunch, $83,000 in merchandise, which is $870 per head. So these numbers were phenomenal for you guys at this time. Did you guys feel at this time too, even making these small town loop kind of things, you guys were really cooking at this moment in juncture?
Yeah, I always felt like that, man. I always did. It was always such a great feeling of being on the rise, feeling like all of our individual efforts were making a difference in the big picture. Like we all were very important pieces of the puzzle, and just watching it grow, it was like rewarding for our work, for our passion, for the time that we kept putting in. And along with that was steadily over the years, other markers of growth for me included having our own magazine, ECW magazine, having ECW action figures, having ECW video game. That might have been it as far as like branded third party merch I can remember, but those were all like, and then the pay-per-views, but those were all like for me stepping stones where I was like, sweet, you know, we're getting our brand recognition out, we're growing, we're becoming real. And I always believed, you know, if we got in front of enough eyes, there'd be a lot of people that would prefer our product because it was so different. And I think I didn't really give it enough bad credit for being counterculture, because to me that's just cool. I prefer it, but overall in the business world, when you're talking big numbers, you do want mainstream, not counter mainstream, not the little cult following, but you want even though as an artist, I loathe it. You know what I mean? I loathe cheapening myself down and trying to conform to their rules and stupiding myself down. Everything that's involved to hit the mainstream so that the status quo basic thinkers will get everything. But you got to take that all into consideration when you're talking about numbers and business.
Right. It's like dealing with all that kind of bullshit sucks. I hate corporate environment stuff. I hate all that malarkey when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, it's like if you want to grow and get to, you know, a bigger position, make more money, it's like you got to get mainstream. But no, it's definitely feeling that momentum. It had to be cool feeling for ECW at the time too. It's just like,
Yeah, watching the crowds grow as well with the same thing, and then pretty soon Paul's talking about different potential TV deals coming up. That he's talking about that maybe could work out. So it was all very exciting.
yeah, I would only imagine. Something else that was kind of exciting for the wrestling world at the time. On November 3rd, 1998, Jesse Ventura was elected as the Minnesota governor, and was a member of the Reform Party. Do you remember this happening, Rob? And like, what was the thought among the ECW locker room, I guess, and your colleagues at the time with a pro wrestler becoming a governor of a state of all things?
He's like a flying Luenda. Did that suck?
That was pretty good.
He's like a flying Luenda. No, I don't know. I when I did the video game voice for help me out. Anybody, do you know there's a video game I did that's fuck.
I
It's
didn't know
not
you were voicing a video.
Murder Mayhem, Murder Brawl. You know what that is?
No.
Murder Brawl. Okay. It's a popular game, but it's like God damn it. I don't know. Let me know below.
Yeah.
They did tell me, by the way, it was Twisted Truck Drivers or Twisted
Metal?
Drivers. No, this was last time we said, what was Joe C's band called?
Oh,
And we said, let us know down there. And someone did say, I think it was Twisted Country Driver, Twisted Truck Country Driver. I don't know. Fucked up. Anyway, I channeled Jesse Ventura to do this character in this video game, and that right now I'm blanking on. So you don't know it either.
I don't know it either.
That's YouTube. Chris knows it.
Bet he does too. Oh
he was hosting the show, bro. He'd be like, "Oh, you mean
this one?"
Yeah,
I didn't even know you voiced a video game character.
Jesse called my match in WCW though. That's
oh, nice.
When I was there in '92, when I wrestled Scotty Flamingo.
Yeah.
I believe he's on that one. But there was a couple different versions, different TV shows. But yeah, he was commentating for WCW back then, and so I had some TV matches of him, And look at Rob. That was horrible. Never mind. I'm gonna try it with the camera off.
I got my dog.
Wait a minute, brother.
What
Robbie V. I don't know. Shit. That's been so long. Now you gotta know that game. God dang it. Go ahead. I'm gonna fucking scream it in the middle of your third sentence. Go.
What was your thoughts on him becoming governor?
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I thought it was good, I didn't know a ton of his platform. I like him. I like that he's not afraid to be controversial. I agree with a lot of the uncovering of the New World Order that he was about and is about, exposing the layers of corruption that really protects government operations. I thought that's really interesting. I mean, Ron Paul also was, kind of like, yeah, he's into that too. And it's like, wow, you're talking about stooging off on everyone that you work with that are your peers now. Like, that's an interesting position to put yourself in. And if the people can put you in there and you can represent the people against those people, or at least, to fucking smarten us up to a little bit about how the world is really run. Shit, I like that. I like that a lot. He seemed progressive enough to be someone that I could probably get behind if I learned a lot more about what he was running for. I don't know if there would be any hiccups or not.
Right. I found I follow some like independent politics and stuff like that, and there's a lot I line up with him, like philosophically and stuff. So yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I remember it and that wrestling was such at a boom at that point too, and just him becoming governor was just a surreal kind of moment, and really kind of added to that mainstream we were just talking about. So
Yeah, and when did Arnold become mayor of
I'm trying to think. That's a good question. I want to say it was early
they,
2000s.
they weren't running at the same or at the same time
No,
running
I
off?
don't think at the same time because Arnold, I remember he showing up on SmackDown in 1999, and I don't think he was governor at that point.
Okay.
So I think it was a little bit more later on, but yeah, that's pretty fascinating to think that. Let's see. Okay, so Meltzer writes too. Extreme Championship Wrestling is at an important crossroads. They are far too big when it comes to being a pay-per-view promotion, and when it comes to payroll, to be considered a small-time company and judged on those standards. But they are far too small to compete with two big promotions on the American scene. Were there times, even at the height of ECW, that you guys felt like you guys were kind of stuck in a no man's land in between like these two big companies? Was there always kind of a concern that you would find your place in pro wrestling, in the mainstream, so to speak, like to get to that level when there's these two competing companies that are already going at it?
Well, I always had the perspective that we only needed a chance to be seen, and I thought, if 100 people watch WWE and I don't know, say 100 fans watch WWE and 80 out of those 100 are drawn to its simple storylines or whatever they were doing at that time. That I thought if 100 people could see ECW, I bet, at least, like 50% of them are going to be like, no, this was way better, man. This is aimed at me. That other stuff is stupid. And I thought that's all we need. Like, I didn't ever have the delusion that we were going to be the number one company and we were going to, no, not, but I just thought that maybe we would be enough.
Yeah.
And if we could be enough, then and then we could survive. I thought that maybe we could run like a smaller company, meaning the talent pool gets a bigger cut, maybe ownership, meaning working conditions would be better so that you wouldn't have to make quite as much as the other companies because it would go a lot further. You know what I mean? I thought it would be benefits like that. And because I preferred the style so much more, I really believed that enough other people would too, to where it would like boom, it would grow like fucking gasoline on fire. I just thought it would just like it was like a car wreck. Like you watch the trailer, which was done to death, the same trailer over and over. But if we would have had a budget and had like a current running show and reasons to have a fresher continuous process going, we could have kept that stuff updated. But just those trailers and with the white zombie and whatever, like watching those was enough to be like, whoa, like this is what wrestling can be. That's how I felt about it. I felt that it was like so far beyond that you didn't even have to be a fan necessarily of wrestling in order to be entertained by watching people slamming their heads on the cement. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
So yeah, I thought maybe we'd have a chance to be the number 3 because I didn't think there was anybody else necessarily that was going to be in that position. And I thought maybe that would be enough to where we wouldn't have to go anywhere and we'd remain small enough to where we wouldn't have to change too much, but we'd be big enough to get a big enough part of the national audience supporting us to be able to, make it a full-time thing. That's what I thought. And my optimism kept me in that perspective all the way up till the last moment.
Yeah. And you think about it too, how hot wrestling was at the time too. There could have been room for a third company to be at that level, you would think too. So I mean, it kind of set up for how pop culture was back then. It definitely allowed for that too. And ECW was just boom at any time. Like you had, from the music standpoint, that was incorporated to it all, to how you guys were cutting edge in a lot of ways with how wrestling was portrayed in those days. It was just it's a good balance of things, and it definitely could have been seen as that way for sure.
It was a vibe.
It was a vibe. It was a vibe.
It was, and it was a good vibe. But now I realize more than I did back then that a lot of the stuff that really made ECW cool wouldn't have been able to stay uncompromised anyway on a much bigger scale. It just wouldn't work. You can't, especially if it was like, I mean, now we're talking fucking 30 years later, 25 years later, but if it was still around now, can you imagine like how many lawsuits there would be? You can't set fans on fire.
Nope.
You know what I mean? you can't throw chairs into the crowd, and hit the fans with it, and all the stuff that we did that made it so entertaining would be compromised at best, So unfortunately, a lot of its success was chained to time and the world and pop culture of that year. That wouldn't work. A lot of that shit just wouldn't work nowadays.
And that the underground kind of identity that ECW almost had in a certain way too, I think, because if you're going mainstream, you can't have that too.
Yeah, you try to mimic it, try to fake it, and it can be a cool concept, but it's not going to be the same because we were doing that shit.
Right. Yeah.
We were climbing over the fans. The fans would we'd say, here, hold this chair, and they'd hold it while we throw each other into it. They were part of the show.
Yeah.
And that was something that it can't be like that again.
No.
Maybe at the Insane Clown Posse's reunion show, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. When you're gathering with the Juggalos there.
Yeah, and you're dodging feces being thrown at you in between the hip tosses.
Holy shit. Literally. Jeez.
Yeah. Hopefully not. Yeah.
Hopefully not.
Anyway, what I'm thinking though is unless it's like a big private party or something, how could you include the audience as much as we did?
Right.
On a big scale in front of everybody. If you didn't want to sue, you'd have 15 lawyers calling you every night if you were on TV.
Right.
You're on TV, they'd be like, oh, yes, Mr. D'Angelo, my name is Matt Stryker. I represent the legal counsel of Buff Stuff and Puff here in Washington, D.C. And are you aware that you have been attacked, assaulted, and batteried on camera in front of 1,000 people, humiliated, embarrassed? And I bet your dick can't even get hard now, can it?
No, not anymore. Not after that incident.
Mark that one up. You can't sleep, of course. But anyway, you get the point.
Traumatized.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm getting sick of hearing myself talk now. Let's move on.
All right. So Meltzer wrote, without question, November to Remember was one of the low nights in ECW history. It was a bad show, bad enough that nobody was making excuses for it or internally after the fact trying to pretend it was a good show. No talent depth, too much overbooking, a lot of bad breaks, and a lot of bad wrestling. The show took place on November 1st at the Uno Lakefront Arena in New Orleans, and it drew 5,800 fans. $90,000 in total. The total of the building, not the gate, was a new company record. Meltzer adds Heyman was going to push Just Incredible as the top heel, and you, Rob, as the top babyface eventually was the plan. Did Heyman ever tell you outright that you'd be the top babyface, or did you just let your work kind of speak for itself, and that's kind of the trajectory it was going in?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, actually. Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think of how that could have organically come into conversation, because it wouldn't be, like, Rob, I'm going to make you my top baby. It might have, I mean, I could imagine him, maybe saying like, hey, when we go into this next pay-per-view, we got you. You're our top baby face now, so we want to do this and have you tease you going against this guy or whatever. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of how it could organically happen, but especially with Shane gone, you're our top guy. I don't know.
He wouldn't have been like outright.
I don't know if it did, but it wouldn't have been, like, okay, here's my plans.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you as my number one baby face, okay, and my number one heel, 911.
911. You're my guys. So yeah, he wouldn't have done something like that. It would have just been like in conversation for the most part or something, huh?
Worked my way up into it, being the most over guy, and that's why I was the number one top baby face, and then I don't even know who it would have been. Would have been a challenge before I got there. Probably Sabu before me, and also franchise. But it seems like franchise only stuck around for, I don't know, a year to 18 months or so. It seems like after I got there, like for most of my career, he wasn't there. But he was in that match you're talking about in New Orleans. Him and Bam Bam and Candido against me and Taz and Sabu.
Right.
That would have been maybe one of the last times actually I can remember seeing him there. But I mean the Beaver Dome was his, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's his
song. That was 97.
Mm-hmm.
So that I got there 96, 97, I think 98. I think he was gone.
Yeah, around that time he was about finished up. And I know too he was injured for a good amount of that time too, wasn't he? Didn't he have like an elbow?
Maybe. And at first we weren't running as many shows. So him, Raven too. Like Raven, I remember being around a little more, and I did have some matches with Raven. But both of those guys, I feel like they had most of their time before I got there. And then kind of overlapped a little bit, and then I had my time.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the match, yes, Sabu, Rob Van Dam, and Taz beat Shane Douglas, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Chris Candido in 12 minutes and 57 seconds. The Dudleys came and beat you and Sabu up before the match. They threw you off the stage, I believe. That's after you cost them the ECW tag titles earlier in the night against Masato Tanaka and Balls Mahoney.
Oops.
Meltzer said that you in the match did most of the athletic spots, but he said it was a lot of people stepping over each other's spots throughout the match, so things got a little cloudy and stuff like that. He gave the match rating itself a half a star. Holy smokes. So then this is what he wrote in the Observer at the time. He says, internally, the main event was considered a disaster and there were major problems with wrestlers in the main event nearly coming to blows backstage after the match due to problems with Taz, Douglas, and Van Dam. We don't have all the details, but Taz was really mad because the idea of the match was to build to the first Shane versus Taz square off in this match after months of hype. But when it happened, there was no interest because Van Dam was on the top rope ready to dive into the crowd onto Bigelow, but Bigelow was nowhere to be seen, wandering far too deep into the crowd, so Van Dam had to stand on the ropes and then eventually got down because Bigelow was not in position and do the spot later. Nobody came to blows, but there was people who were afraid that they would. And Douglas, who was having a hard time recovering from all his elbow problems, okay, so he did have an elbow injury, and really couldn't do much in the ring, stormed out of the building after the show. Rob, do you remember any of this?
Sounds like a bunch of hotheads, if you ask me.
That's what competitive spirit, hey, people are trying to get into it. That's how it happens. And if you're doing a main event match, obviously there's going to be tension if things don't go as well, I think.
Yeah, I remember it very well. And there was a lot of tension, a lot of anger. And for me personally, a lot of it was because the backstage angle between me and Taz that had been building up, the real life shoot tension peaked on this night.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so this was the night where Taz ended up popping me in the mouth, and I had like a bloody lip or a bloody nose, which normally great. Like I don't care, but we already had all this tension growing, and according to the story as I've told it on here, Sabu was mediating the whole time, saying he's saying he's gonna, I'm gonna kill your boy, I'm gonna kill your boy, and building it up in between. Anyway, so the reason that I got popped in the mouth was because I did one of these amazing last minute saves on our partner, Bam Bam, right? Or was Bam Bam their partner?
Sabu and Taz were your partner. Bam Bam was one of your opponents. So
it must have been Sabu I was making the save on then. That's the only thing that. But anyway, I like to be on there on. I want to make the save at 2 and 99 100s. You know what I mean? Out of nowhere. So it was one of those deals. And Taz, who was closer by, must have just made the instinctive judgment to make the save, not knowing that I was going to be there. And then, like a blur, I'm there. But he's coming to make the save anyway. So then he hits me. Boom. No big deal, but just telling you what I just did, you can understand where I looked at it like it was his fault. Like, and the thing was, we had beef over me stiffing him in the match in Philly. Mm-hmm. And afterwards, I apologized and stuff, and even told him to hit me because I could tell he was really hot about it. We go ahead and hit me now. We can equalize, make it even, whatever. And so then this happens, right? I get hit. Yeah. And the thing that even at this point, so now I think, okay, now I'm probably already pissed because now he hit me back. And he didn't apologize, yet. Maybe he still will. But when I got back, I think he was already gone when I got back through the curtain, the way I remember it. But it was Paul and Dreamer and possibly Lance that told me that when I was still in the ring, that Taz came through the curtain, pissed, picked up a cinder block, threw it into the wall. So I'm going to kill Van Dam.
So this was this night? That was this night this happened?
That's this night. And this is what they're telling me, but he's not there. And I was just like pulling my skin off. Like, what? What? You couldn't have told me that when he was still here. Like I was like, I can't, it's not fair. I can't reach him right now. Like, are you serious? He fucking said that? And anyway, who even knows what the real truth was? But that was this night. And so that's why it was after this, I was just like, in my mind, I was like, all right, yeah, we're past the line then. Next time I see him, boom, I'm just going to hit him and be like, dude, we're fighting, No. And so now I remember that, but and that was a pretty pivotal moment in that story arc of our backstage rival. And there was also other tension. Bam Bam kept coming back and screaming and bitching and then leaving and then coming back. And Sabu was saying it was funny that he said that Bam Bam wasn't even really mad, that he was just working Paul. And gave me a whole different light on it, because he said that he kept going out and well, hell, he's not around anymore, I guess I can tell you, but he said he was going out and doing bumps and kept coming back in, and he would continue the argument. That's fucked up, Paul. That's fucked up. We can't even count on that. And he'd like, bam, and he'd like leave. And I remember that. He'd be like, bam, like slam and be storm off, and shit. And everyone was pretty heated up after the match, and not all for all the same reasons.
Wow, how about that? And like at this time too, Bam Bam was trying to get a big contract deal with one of the other companies, whether it was WWE or WCW, apparently, and he was on his outs at this point too. So I don't know, there's adds another element to it. Wow, how's about that? Oh, what a November to remember indeed, huh? So another match that occurred on this was Tommy Dreamer. He had a mystery partner and ended up being the aforementioned on earlier episodes, Jake Roberts, as they beat Just Incredible and Jack Victory. Roberts reportedly arrived only minutes before the match and didn't have even time to put gear on. But in the match, Jack Victory actually broke his leg and couldn't do spots. So Credible, who apparently Heyman was protecting at this point, had to take the pinfall after being protected for the months. Was this your first experience with Jake Roberts at this time? No, you cross paths with him beforehand. Then. Okay. Going back to this, how about just Incredible as a top heel for the company? Was this something that you could see as viable? Like, did he kind of fit the bill in that way? Would he have made a good complementary opponent to you in the long run too? Just Incredible.
I think that I could have a good match with anybody. At least that's what I believed about myself and what my goal was.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that you asked that specifically because Justin Credible did not have the confidence to think that he and I would have a good match, and he would often say that to me. He'd come up and he'd say, man, you think you and I would have a good match? Like, no, never mind. I'm not that good. I can't hang with you, man. I don't know, man. What do you think? I suck, man. I don't think I'm going to be able to, I don't think I'm going to, I'll be like, dude, what are you talking about, man? Relax. See, dude, I work with guys that have half the talent that you do, make them look good. And, that happened several times where he would say that. And I guess maybe it was because Paul was talking to him about building him up into being that top heel position. I didn't really see it myself, and that's not a knock on him, but it is saying that I didn't think that his specific star power was enough for what I thought the image of the company should be, but that's really a uneducated view, like Paul would have probably brought in stars anyway to be in his gang and his clique or to work with him or whatever. Like I doubt that Paul would have left that gap open. It's just that I didn't understand that at the time. So for me, I would have thought maybe, hey, how come the focus isn't going on a different direction where we can get a star that shines back on us.
Yeah. I remember too at the time, like tuning in around like 2099, around that juncture, like you were the top star in my eyes. And then there was Taz was on his way out. He was already on WWE at this juncture. But then I remember always thinking that you, Just Incredible, and I'm trying to think who else was Sabu, obviously, but you guys were like the top guys at that time. It kind of felt like to me. And then kind of thinking back to, I remember the Credible working match with Scott Hall and ECW for a cup of coffee and certain aspects like that. So I think they were kind of positioning that, but definitely like as a fan at that juncture, I definitely thought you guys were like the top echelon of those guys. So
I don't know what big stars I even had in mind. I always thought it was cool when we could associate someone with ECW that's, like Rick Rude, Sid Vicious, so sometimes guys like that, like that I was fans of anyway. But I guess no one really stuck around. So it was mostly, I guess, Paul using the affordable talent and making the most out of them while getting the proper rub from the veterans. So, with that in mind right now, I guess I can see Just Incredible being the centerpiece because he had the clique around him. You know what I mean? Jason, and Francine and Lance Storm. And so I could see where you could definitely put it all back on him. Why not?
Yeah. Well, we'll finish up here, but you did mention some bringing in veteran talent. How was it working with
I hope he fucking can keep his nose clean too, by the way, dude. Like every time he makes the news, it's something about him fucking up again, falling off the wagon or and or stiffing some promoters out of some money that he got them to pay him and then no showed them or whatever. And man, he's been on that path for so long. So I know a lot of people are pulling for him, but I'm one of them too, man. I hope if he hears this that he's able to straighten out. I hope when I see him somewhere that he can tell me that he can come and tell me that he's doing good, because man, a lot of drama, a lot of not productive energy going on with that lifestyle, and short term and long term, it's all fucked up.
Yeah. And I've heard him in interviews before and stuff like that, and he's got such a good mind for the business and stuff. And it's just, want to see. I would love to see him like kind of get on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
Definitely pulling for him for sure. But yeah, speaking of some veterans, how was it having like somebody like Jake in there too, like show up, Jake Roberts being there, and in the mix of ECW?
So I don't even remember necessarily talking to Jake or which show he was at. Which show was it?
This was November to Remember, so he was tagging with Tommy Dreamer at this one.
Which November to Remember?
This one, 1998, the one in New Orleans.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Gotcha. And Alice Cooper was there, right? No, that was WrestleMania.
That was WrestleMania.
Didn't Alice Cooper and Jake the Snake do something? No, I've known Jake for a while. Like I met him when I was doing indie shows. I was promoting indie shows. So when I left WCW in '93, I became partners with an already in progress production. I just walked in and became half partners and ended up doing the footwork to get sponsors to give money to promote the show and everything. And it was really cool. And that was 93, 94, me and Greg Price, All-Star Wrestling. Jake was more expensive than the standard of the talent list, and I thought that was cool, and it stuck out in my mind. That money nowadays is nothing. It's hard to believe that he worked for that back then, but that's inflation, I guess, and that was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Oof. But so one thing that I remember I'm pretty sure it's Washington, North Carolina. We're doing this show for the Police Athletic League. And as part of the promotions, while we're there in the daytime, we're talking to kids, like, I don't know, fifth graders or something, in an assembly in the gym. And there's me and I think Bambi, Selena Majors was there. Mm-hmm. And I think Scotty Riggs was there, and a midget, and Jake the Snake. And anyway, we're talking to these kids, and the midget's up there, and kids are, how about can you bench press? And he's saying, he bench pressed 500 pounds. And I'm thinking, he didn't bench press 500 pounds. Look at that little motherfucker. He's lying. Ain't no way I believe that. And Scotty Riggs goes up there, and he's like, hey, you got to get good grades in school, and then you can do whatever you want as an adult. Yay. And then I went up there and, said, I used to daydream, about being on television and being a superhero, and look at me now. I'm like, yay. And anyway, I don't know if you know where this is going or not.
Oh, yeah. You said you told this story about him.
So Jake the Snake goes up there and he's like, hey, how's everyone doing? And he's like, you remember seeing me on TV? Remember when I brought the snake, Damien, and I'd pull him out of the bag? Like, yay. And he's like, that was a lot of fun. And I was like, I wonder if fifth graders really remember the snake, But and anyway, yay. And he said, that was a lot of fun, huh? Seeing me on TV with the snake and having a good time. Yay. And then he goes, I wish I could remember it. And I got like really quiet. And then pretty soon he starts talking about how lucky he is that to still have his wife Cheryl, who's standing right over there against the wall, that stuck with him through all the times when he didn't come home because he was too busy doing coke with whores in the hotel rooms. And, and his speech was like so fucking strong for fifth graders. That's the first time I remember meeting Jake. I was just like, wow.
Jake.
He's intense as fuck.
Those kids straight.
Yeah.
How about that? Well, apparently too at this so Heyman wanted to actually get Vader to be Tommy Dreamer's partner at the time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but Vader turned it down, saying that he brought it up to Stan Hansen, who thought it wouldn't be a good idea politically for him in Japan. Vader and Heyman spoke about doing occasional appearances for the company in 1999 as a recurring character. So, to your point of like them bringing in some veteran guys, what do you think Stan meant about it, like it being a bad political move for Japan?
My only guess, I don't know. I'm guessing. I can't. This doesn't even make sense. But my first thought, what that translated to me was that maybe they. And why, I don't know, but maybe they wanted Vader to do a job. Like I could see him beating Dreamer, and then out of a surprise, turn around and Spike Dudley kicks him in the nuts and hits him with the acid drop, because that's what Spike would do to the bigger guys, and get into a man gang and Kamala. I think everyone that. So I could see them having an idea, something like that, the way that the show overall would be presented, like especially on a pay-per-view, to have a run in and have the show build like that. It's a total guess that, maybe Stan was talking about some money that they were making with an angle, working each other in Japan, and that he thought might get hurt if Vader was to do a job. That's my only guess.
Yeah, okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense, though, too, to that point. And funny you mentioned Spike, because on this pay-per-view, he actually wrestled Mabel and did exactly what you talked about. He kicked him in the nuts and gave him the Dudley Death Drop or whatever, and got the win.
Yeah, makes sense. So that was probably going to be Vader if Vader agreed to it.
Right, exactly. But that kind of wraps it up, Rob, for November to Remember 1998. How much was this? This obviously was a pretty memorable pay-per-view for you because of all the stuff that happened afterwards.
Yeah.
How about that? Cool.
Yeah, man. Also, that was a different time in New Orleans. I was just thinking about the humidity there, but that was a different time because I wrestled Lance then.
Oh.
But yeah, no, this was nice because we were in a nice arena and you never knew what to expect. And you still sometimes on the indie scene, when you pull up to a building, sometimes you're pleasantly surprised and other times you're kind of disappointed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As you pull up and you're like, oh, this is Ross Raven Ice Cards. Huh?
I'm going to get paint chips on me tonight.
And then other times, you're like, holy fuck, we're in this building? This is fucking where the big boys play. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Let's wrap it up, Rob. Did you have RVDology for us this week?
Yeah. We'll talk for a second. What did we talk about last week? Remember?
Cool. Yeah. So last week was listening, and I tell you what, that was the most immediate kind of impact it would have, because anytime somebody would be talking to me, I'm like, I am actually going to make more of an effort to listen, because there is a lot of times what you were saying where I'm so much of the time I'm listening, but I'm not really listening because I'm always trying to think of what I'm going to say next.
Right.
Being conscious of that was a big something that I really implemented this week and want to continue to do more. So that was a good one, Rob.
Cool. Yeah, good job. That will improve people's relationships a lot. A lot of times, like I mentioned, that book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. In particular, a lot of times women just want to talk and just want someone to listen without someone to try to solve and fix all their problems for them. And they don't even know why it's so frustrating. But I'm not an expert on that, but I am telling you, though, you'll notice it improves a lot. The bonding will become more real thicker and better. So cool. So yeah, I don't have like any. I always say that like nothing really prepared, but I was just trying to think of what would be a good thing to leave people with, and everyone's got their own plans, their own ideas. But you know what? That's cool because you got your own life and you have to live your own life as if it is your life. So, what I want to tell you today, is that me, RVD, is telling you that do it for you. And I'm going to explain that a little bit. And then hopefully you'll find this useful. I get asked a lot of times at conventions by young wrestlers that are starting out or want to be wrestlers, whatever. They say, what kind of advice would you give somebody that's trying to get into the business? And of course, that's a very vague question, which deserves a very vague answer. But a couple of times, I've thought about it and it's been the same answer. And this is what I tell them. I said, ask yourself why you're doing this and answer that and keep that answer for you and keep connected to that acknowledgement, because someday you're going to want to ask yourself, like, what am I doing? Why am I doing all this? And you'll have your answer. You'll have it right there where you kept it way back in the day, and you'll remember why you do it. Whether it's for the love of it, whether it's to better your people, whether it's to show everybody, show everyone that you can do it. Whether it's to make it out of the hood, whatever your reason is, keep that, and because you'll get separated from it. A lot of new information comes in and stuff, but keep it somewhere, lock it up, put it somewhere where you can retrieve it later. And then when you can have that to fall back on and answer your own question, remind yourself, this is why I do it. It'll give you a new faith. It'll give you reason when sometimes you seem to be running out of reason. And that happens when your faith is challenged. A lot of people will tell you that you can't do it. And who the fuck are they? I'll be this honest with you. If you want to be a superstar in any field, football, actor, scientist, whatever, if you want to be a superstar, the odds are going to be against you. That's what makes being a superstar so special, because it's so rare. It's a great thing. I'm saying odds are against it. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm saying if you think you can do it, I think you can do it. Fuck, I thought I could do it. I did it. And I had a lot of people tell me that I couldn't do it. You know why? Because they have their own life with their own values and they didn't understand mine. And so they felt like they needed to tell me, first off, judge me by their own values, but also try to determine the path of my life. This is my life, and it's your life. So really, you get to decide what you're going to do with your life, ultimately. There's exceptions. Everyone's got their own circumstances. We have different freedoms. But ultimately, when it comes to making these decisions, think of who you respect if you want to listen to advice. A lot of the people might tell you, like, no, you're not going to do that. Give up on that. I mean, I had my teachers tell me that, my principal. I had wrestlers tell me I wasn't going to make it in the business. I obviously didn't focus on them. I wanted to prove them wrong. But did I do it for them? No, I did it for me. And once you do something for you, something really big and strong, something that you believe you can do and other people don't believe you can do, and you go ahead and ignore them and you do it anyway, you have such a better position in life. You know why? You've proven yourself to you. Now you got all these losers around you that have never done that. They don't have that experience. They don't have that perspective. they're not going to be able to relate to you as much anymore. But you know what? It's worth it because you know you can do it. You know you're up for the challenge. You know that about yourself. And so now, you know what? Now you have confidence with reason. You feel secure in life. Now you don't have to be in that position as everyone else where you're all competing to try to find the same answers to questions that you think you're supposed to know the answers to, things that you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. You know what? Let everyone else compete in the rat race. You do you and do it for you. And that's what I want to leave you with this week. That's it, dude. Do it for you. And RVD told you, if you think you can do it, then I think you can do it too. This week, Dom, I'm going to be at the big event. Are you going to be there? In New York, 11/11.
Oh, no. 11/11,
Okay.
big event, New York.
Yeah, it's in Brentwood, I believe, New York. Big convention.
Oh, okay.
Katie will be with me. It's also our anniversary.
Oh, no shit.
11. Yeah, so if anybody that wants to give us a little extra greenery for an anniversary package, we take it. Pre-roll is preferred, but looking forward to that. We'll see a bunch of our friends very soon, Saturday.
Nice. I was just talking to Magnum TA. He's going to be there too. So how about that?
Right on.
Nice. Good
Cool,
shit,
cool.
man. Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, if you like what you're hearing, you go to rvdpod.com. You get some clips. You'll get full episodes. You can get us early on the Premier Streaming Network every Friday at 4:20. But hey, you can get us everywhere, every Monday at 4:20 p.m. with the podcast audio. So wherever you get your podcast, you listen in Spotify, iTunes, give us 5 stars. And then on top of it, you can catch us on Rumble. If you want actual full episodes, that's where you'll get them immediately when they come out. So take a look there. Go on Rumble. You'll see the links on our Rob's socials. You'll see it on my socials. Follow Rob at The Real RVD.
Yeah, I don't know if the comments are everywhere or not, but on my YouTube page, I look at them, I engage in them, I'll answer the questions that stimulate a response from me.
Yeah,
and we don't have enough of that. I can always use more engagement, more conversations. So let me know what you're thinking about these videos.
absolutely, definitely do that. Rob does respond. You were talking about. I saw you clarified the Nair situation. You were talking about, hey, people just do it because it helps you look more clean and stuff like that. So
yeah, someone said they wondered why wrestlers took all the hair off of their body, like they didn't understand why, and it's a vanity thing, and it's for looks, and it's to show more muscle. When you're in bodybuilding, there's so many little tiny tricks, and shaving is one of them. They'll tell you that shaving over having a little fur all of a sudden is like losing an extra 4% of your body fat. Then having a tan over being white, all of a sudden you get another 3 to 4% of body fat. And then, with the right lighting and shades and there's just so much to it. Of course, the posing is a big part of bodybuilding, but there's so much little things like that. And so, like in WWE, I've always nared. In ECW, I always just went hairy, and eventually, I just wanted to change it. And now, when I get hairy, I feel gross, and I don't like that I can't see my body anymore. Especially now that I'm all veiny and stuff. I want to see all my veins. I want to see all my veins and in my legs and arms, and so when it gets hairy, then I want to wipe that off.
I saw on social media.
It's not fun being the only one in a throuple that's scruffy.
I saw on social media there was 2 pictures of you side by side, you and ECW going this, and then you and WWE, and you're like Harry versus Nary.
Yeah. Amazing how much those pictures look a lot alike, though, huh?
Yeah, that's crazy. Rob, I was just watching a match of you in like 2003. We'll talk about this on a future episode, but you're wrestling a match in 2003, and I was like, holy fuck, Rob looks the exact same. He looks the exact same. So
yeah, sometimes it comes across that way.
Yeah,
so that's the answer with the hairy. And I used to think, like especially I guess it's part of growing up, puberty or whatever, you know, thinking that it was a good thing. Like I'm more manly if I got more hair, you know, like, oh, look at the hair under my armpits. I better shave. I'm really manly, you know. But at a certain point afterwards, like for me, the hairier I am, like the dirtier that I look to me. And so it's just a preference thing.
Yeah, just a preference. Well, cool, Rob. It's been a good episode. Guys, we will see you next week here on One of a Kind with that guy over there.
Hit me up and tell me how this RVDology affected you this week with me telling you do it for you. Don't do it just to prove them wrong and shit, because fuck those guys. They're gonna see what they want to see. And then you prove them wrong, they're gonna wait and they're gonna come back later, and then and they're gonna try the same shit again anyway. So just do it for you, because when you can walk through life with the confidence of knowing that you're on a different level, man, that does a lot for your vibration. Trust me. That's what I want to do for you with my RVDology. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Tune it up. I want to tune you up. Tune your frequency up.
Absolutely.
Have a great week, everybody.
Yep.